Hello Flosstube, welcome back. I am Jenny, this is my channel Stitching Jennie. I wanted to say thank you first of all for the warm congratulations on my finish of the Jardin Privé Secret Garden, Mon Petit Jardin Secret. Yeah. And everybody really loved it, loved the finish, and they were so kind, and I really do appreciate all of that. It was especially a big hit for the fabric, and I did, in case you might have missed it, I did do a tutorial. I did dye some more sky fabric for a new start that I have to show you, and it I did record while I did it and posted a tutorial. I made it just a little bit brighter than what my original was, and this is the second piece that I dyed, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think whites will show up a little better on it than on the first one. It is maybe a touch brighter than some people might like, so just add a little less of the aquamarine dye if you're not a huge fan of how bright it is. But I'm really excited to use this for some of my smaller pieces, things like the bee projects that I have planned, something that I want kind of a sky piece for. So make sure that you check that out if you are interested. In my last video at the end, I asked how people who had previously been monogamous stitchers, how they rotate, how they just work on and touch on more projects. I am finding that I want to work on more projects, but I'm not sure how to do it, how to go about it. And I had some great suggestions that I wanted to share with you as well. So Amy loves Sal's, that's stitch alongs, and most of her projects are stitch alongs, and they come out different times during the month, and so she'll work on that section of the stitch along until she's finished with it, put it away, move on to her next Sal. And so that's a really easy way for her to rotate. If it's not part of a Sal and she just likes the project, what she'll do is she'll break the pattern up into Sal type blocks, and then she'll work on that section, and then when she's done with that section, move to one of her other Sals. So I really like that idea of even being able to make a project that's not a stitch along, kind of breaking up into like a smaller chunk. Janet says she uses a Tiny Decision Wheel app on her phone. If Tiny Decisions doesn't work on your phone, there are lots of decision wheel apps that you can download. They're all really easy, and she'll just go and have all of her projects listed and just hit the decision wheel. And I do that for a lot of times for my 24 hours of cross stitch weekend, because I like to work on all of my projects during that weekend. I'm getting so many now, I am not sure if that'll work now, but you just put it in, touch the wheel, and when it comes up, you stitch. And she said, you know, I might work on it for 30 minutes or a couple of hours or a couple of days. It just kind of depends on how she's feeling about that piece. Stitchin' Mommy had a recommendation that I will probably actually implement actually very soon, if not, you know, in the coming weeks. She does two 2-day rotations and then one 3-day rotation. So she'll do Monday, Tuesday, then Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And what she does is she picks a small project for Monday, Tuesday, a medium project for Wednesday, Thursday, and then a large project for the weekend. And I really like that. I feel like it allows you to touch a lot of things without feeling like you're constantly changing, and you feel like you get some actual progress. I know some of my days I get more progress than others, and so I would hate to put it away after one day. But I really liked that recommendation, so I'll probably actually be using that one. Okay, so now for my previous finishes, I have this one. And this one is called Every Heart. Make sure, yeah, Every Heart by Whispered by the Wind. And this is on a 32 count raw linen, raw natural linen. I really enjoyed this piece. It is all done in DMC floss, which is really interesting because she's able to get what looks like a variegated look all while using DMC, and I was really impressed with that. I really enjoyed stitching the heart and the flag and even Uncle Sam. I have learned that I don't enjoy stitching stars. Again, maybe it's partly because I have a hard time figuring out where to go next in the star, but I don't like stitching stars, and I don't like stitching snowflakes typically, I have discovered. And so I've learned this about myself. So I actually really struggled to finish it, not because of anything about the piece, or I just don't enjoy stitching stars, and so these last few stars really took a long time for me to stitch. I had everything else finished except those. One change I did make was the shoes and the string were brown, and I wanted them gray, so I switched them to a gray. And this one is just a flat finish, just kind of, that's my back. I laced the main piece, and then I used sticky board for the back fabric, and the sticky board I used was curved, and so you can actually kind of see that because of that the piece is curved. So I would caution you to be aware of that. I thought, oh, it's the back, it won't bother it, and yet it kind of made a difference. And all I do is I put it in, I have these easels. It's hard to see maybe because it's clear, but then I just put it in the easel and have it on my piano. So there's that one. And then this next one is one of my favorites. And get in close so you can see how cute that is. And this one is this one's called Liberty Lights, and this one is by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. You may have seen this before. They were kind enough to reshare it, repost it on their Instagram account a couple of years ago. I was really excited because it was one of my first big finishes that I had finished. I have this stitched on 28 count flax, and it's using all the called for colors. I did have a hard time seeing the word stripes, so I actually backstitched that in the navy blue so that you could actually see it. But other than that, it's all done as called for. This is done, again, this one probably was done on sticky board instead of lacing. I might have laced it. That's kind of when I was transitioning between lacing and sticky board. But then the back fabric is definitely on sticky board. And I have the little pick and the ribbons that I got from Hobby Lobby, and they're just magnetized on. I use this and switch it out for the other seasonal stayings that the Frosted Pumpkin has. And so it just goes on like that. So that's a finish that I really enjoy. I love it. This wood piece came from, it was either Joann's or a Walmart. They both had similar, it was brown to begin with, kind of like that. And then I just took some water and some just white acrylic paint, watered it down, and just kind of whitewashed over it to kind of give it an aged kind of white wood barn type look. And my ribbon shifted. Anyway, so that's Liberty Lights. Then I had an FFO, fully finished object for this week. This week was my daughter's 17th birthday, and as you may have remembered if you've watched my previous, I was working on Faith by Joan Elliott, and this is my finish. So bring it in. You might be able to see there are some beads on it. Let's see if I can. There's some beads. I added some iridescent sparkle to the dragonfly wings. Let's see. You might be able to see that. Anyway, and I laced this and put it in this 5x7 frame that I got at Walmart, and I really love how it turned out. My daughter loved it, and it sits next to the other piece with the hummingbirds on it. I don't remember what the word for the other one is, but there is that finish. Okay, so then I had one last new start. Well, actually, I did finish on I'll Be There. I added the buttons. So that one, I finished the stitching before, but I hadn't added the buttons. And I used my own conversion on this, and the color Camilla by Weeks is a perfect match for that flower. So if you're stitching this and can't find the Romy's Creations floss, Camilla Weeks is a fantastic alternative for that pink. So I had my last new start for Mania. I was doing Stitch Sania with, which is something that Stephanie from Lindy Stitches came up with. It's instead of having a new start for like 15 days or whatever, it was on the weekends you worked on you picked out one new start for each weekend if you met a goal on a whip throughout the week. And I just worked on an old whip from, it was actually my previous Mania. And then on the weekend I started, it was Memorial Day weekend, so it was appropriate that I started Memorial Day. This is Memorial Day by Hands On Design, and I loved this one. It came out at Market last year, and I fell in love with it, and I knew exactly how I wanted to stitch it. It just took me some time to get it all put together, as sometimes it can. And this is the other sky fabric that I dyed in my tutorial. This is a 36 count. It was a 36 count Zweigart linen, and I think it turned out so pretty. And this is my start. And And my cute little Statue of Liberty needle minder. That's a person of color. I think she is so pretty. I absolutely love her. And she came from Gina's Unique Boutique, if you're interested. But this is my sky fabric. I dyed it on 36 count linen, like I mentioned. And normally I just hang it and let them kind of air dry. But this time I put them in the dryer because I was really hoping this 36 count would shrink just a little bit so I'd have a little bit better coverage. And it did. It works really well. And as you can see, the coverage is really well. The pattern doesn't call for the stars to be stitched because it's supposed to be on a white fabric. And so I'll have to go in and stitch in the stars. But I did my own color conversion because it was done in sulky threads and I don't have them. So I kind of used colors that I have on hand. And these are going to be those colors. So I think it will look really good when it's done. So that was my last new start for Mania. But not the last of the new starts. I have two more. Saturday was my sister's first day of not having kids in school, and so we decided we were going to do the Schools Out Biscornu Sal. And we both have this Biscornu. It's called Biscornu Dawn, and it's a Riolis kit. This is we got ours from mybobbin.com, which is a fantastic source if you really like those Russian designers, Russian kits. They have like the the P-A-N-N-A kits. They have Riolis kits. They have all sorts of really great products that are hard to find in the United States. But this is my start on it. And this is with the kit Linen and Floss. It's a 25 count Zweigart Lugana, and it is stitched one fabric. It's one floss thread over one fabric thread, so 1 over 1. And so it's tiny, tiny, tiny. Which my sister and I didn't realize that it was 1 over 1. So we were I don't want to say disappointed, but it was not the easy, quick stitch that we had initially first thought it would be. But it's turning out so beautifully, and I can't wait to keep going on it. This needle minder is from mybobbin.com as well, and it's actually got a pretty cool little peg back to it. So anyway, there's that new start. And then in between those two, I started Americana Trifles by Shepherd's Bush. And I stitched this one and started this one. And I'm using the same fabric that's called for the free. And I'm going to use that same fabric for all of them. So this is what that looks like. So this is free. I'll zoom in on each one. So that's free. And then there is Liberty. And this is stitched on 32 count Graceful Gray by Witchelt. And I'm not using the called for flosses. They call for some Gentle Arts floss that is very difficult to find right now. So I used kind of my own conversion for these, using similar feel. You can see they're kind of a similar tone, maybe a little darker and brighter. But I'm really happy with how that turned out. All I have left on this one is to do a white inside, a little backstitch curly Q, and then a diamond outline. And then it will be done. So I can probably finish that tonight pretty easily. I did all of this just last night, so it was really fast. So there's those. I've decided it's harder to time my Flosstube over the summer because my kids are home and it's a little bit more difficult with them around. So you may hear some sounds in the background as they're like running around and doing things. But anyway, so those are my 3 new starts. And then I have 2 whips that I worked on. The first one is Sunflower Manor by Hands On Design. And this one was a Mania start last year, so I worked on it again this Mania. This was my last whip, and I'm actually really impressed with all that I got done. So I finished almost, pretty much all the white on this side right here. If you can, there, I think you could see that better. I felt like this time it actually flowed a lot easier, a lot faster. I didn't, a lot of times I sit and I like, oh, what's the best path, and really kind of hem and haw over what direction and where to go. And this time I didn't do that. I just looked and I just followed whatever I could until the end, and then I cut off and I restarted, and I didn't worry about it. And it was so much easier, so much faster, and I wasted so much time in the past hemming and hawing about it that I felt like I got way more done than I've ever have. So I'm really, really happy and excited because I feel like now I can finish this up super fast and then move on to my rose cottage that's, you know, part of this set. So I'm really excited about that and discovering that. And really this was only a few days because we've been redoing my kids' bathroom, and that's kind of my biggest whip, I guess you would say, and I'm almost totally done with it. So we got the base new flooring put in, I finished the vanity, I touched up the baseboards last night, they're in, and so we just have to put like the toilet back on, finish putting on the plates for the light switches, switching out the light switch. My husband has to put the toilet back in, if I didn't mention that. And we have a new shower curtain rod that's coming because our wall is not a standard width, and so it's always falling. So I was busy doing a lot of that, as well as the end of school celebrations when I was working on that. So it really was only a matter of a couple of days of very light work on that. So I was really happy with that. My second whip is his name is Jesus. This is just a black and white photo of it. And I got 3 more names added onto this. So this is what that looks like. So I added the Way, the Anointed One, and Light of the World. There's one more like column, I guess you'd say, of names over here, but it didn't fit in my Q-snap, so I'll probably just work on this and then come over here and finish this. I ripped out the gold that I had in. That's what that smudge is, if you can kind of see. I have a blending filament on order. It's actually waiting for me. I have an order at 123 Stitch waiting for me, and I have not picked it up yet. But I have a gold blending filament that I'm going to try and see if maybe that will work. If not, I will go to my local needlework store. It's called the Craft Store Finest Stitchery, something along those lines. We call it the Stitchy Store, my sister and I, so sometimes I forget its actual name. But if not, then I'll try maybe a petite treasure braid or just some gold silk floss maybe, because I want it to look really nice. So, and it's hard where this is stitched 1 floss thread over 1 fabric thread, so 1 over 1. So it's tiny. So it's hard to find the normal braids that work with it. So the diamant did not work. It was too big. So hopefully we can find something else. I have no haul because it's sitting at 123 Stitch waiting for me. That consists of black thread to do the words for my Memorial Day, and some fabric and a couple of extra flosses. So nothing super big, but I thought, so Saturday when I started my Biscornu, the Lugana wasn't serged and it was starting to shred, and so I called my sister, or I texted my sister, and she was like, come over, bring all of your stuff. I have my sergers actually ready, and it's actually even out. Bring all your stuff that you need serged. And so I did a super late night. I think it was like 8:30 when I left my house to head over to her house and have her serge my stuff for me. So one of the pieces that I've been dying to start, I had some Lugana, and I don't know, some of you might not know, but Lugana, you look at it cross-eyed and it shreds. It just, the raw edges they just shred. And I had ordered last year a piece of Lugana from Europe, from England, from a company called Pull Stitches, and they dye gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous fabric. And I have a piece, the Mirabilia Touching the Autumn Sky piece. It's a girl on a swing in the fall, and fall is my favorite season, and I used to love to swing, and so I kind of think of it as me on that swing. And so I wanted a really special piece of fabric for it, so I ordered from Pull Stitches in England and ordered this fabric, and this is called, this one is Angel Dust. So she'll go on this. And I haven't 100% decided which side, but anyway, there's that. And then this was the little extra piece, but it needed to be serged. So my sister serged it for me so that I can actually start it. I'm so excited. And this is some of the flosses in the bag that I stitched or sewed just for it. So I'm really excited to be able to start that. And then for plans, we're going to be doing some traveling over the next few weeks. And so just kind of off and on throughout those 2 weeks, and so there will be a lot of time in the car. And so I've picked out a few pieces. The first 2 will be my actual in the car pieces. So this one is called Gingerbread House, and it's by a Russian company called MP Studios. I think it's Studias. If you look on my bobbin, it's Studias, but they do some really cute kits. And this one's on plastic canvas. and it comes with all the thread that you need as well as the canvas. And I thought since I'd be in the car, the canvas would be easier to see than like a linen would be. So I thought that would be a good actual car piece because we will be in the car for a long time. So there's that one. The reason I picked this one is because one of my first dates with my husband was making gingerbread houses at my apartment. And that was, it'll be 20 years ago in December, and our 20th anniversary is coming up next spring. And so I thought it would be neat to give him this on the anniversary of that gingerbread house date. My next car piece will be this one. It's called Holiday Pumpkins is what it's called. And it's again by that same MP Studio or MP Studios. So again, also on the plastic canvas. So will be really nice for car trip. A potential one for we're going to the beach, and we'll be as well as, you know, in the evenings at the hotel, I need a piece. So I'm debating between the Every Season and either continuing the spring or starting the summer piece. I haven't decided, but this is where I left off. I thought I would show you. This is where the spring piece has left off. So the nice thing about this is it's a lot of chunks of color, which would be really easy to do while we're traveling. So that's a potential. I just have to decide. I haven't completely decided. Part of me is leaning towards that one just because it's spring, summer, kind of fun. The next possible one is Love by Madame Chantilly. And this was a mania. No, this was my anniversary start. I started this for my 19th anniversary in April. And this is where that one left off. So just have the vase and a bow with a wreath, and then the letter L with, I think it's a vase. Yep, and another vase of flowers. So it's close-ish to a finish. And this one goes really quickly. The colors flow really nicely on this one. She did a fantastic job on it. So that's another one. And I'm kind of thinking this one because, again, it's kind of same blocks of color. They flow really well, but it's also close to being done. So I could have that done. Because you know me and finishes, I like to have a finish. So, I don't know. I have a few days to decide which ones I'm going to take of those two for beach or hotel stitching. So, that's that. Other than that, the only real plan potentially maybe in the future is maybe a stitch along. I'm working with the Erica and Aaron from Steel City Stitchers to do a stitch along on the new habitat house that Lindy Stitches has out. It's an eagle and it's really cute. So that potentially would be like a June 26th-ish, maybe, stitch along start. So haven't totally nailed down like a timeline for that. Just kind of floated the idea to them since we all like it and we did our last one together, so we thought it would be fun to do another one, but we haven't really committed to anything solidly yet. But thanks for joining me. Feel free to like and subscribe. Also check out my dyeing tutorial for the sky fabric if you're interested. And I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.